Hi, welcome back to my channel. I hope you'll join me today while I practice some loose florals. Today I'm using my size 10 and size 6 round brushes, my Sonnet and SeimiArt watercolors. I have my watercolor palette handy, 2 jars of water, one for rinsing and one for actual painting, and I have a tea towel for dabbing any water spots, mistakes, etc. I'm also using my 350 GSM watercolor paper from Dollar Tree. Let's get started. I want to start today with just some simple, loose, wet roses. And I really want an abstract kind of look. This is not something that I personally excel at, so I'm practicing. So to start my roses, I like to do some little crescents, and I like to get bigger and smaller with those strokes. Just these random crescents, and then just applying a little more pressure and less, letting the brush kind of drag and all of that. Keeping this just nice and loose, nice and wet. And I want to go ahead and create my vase, which I think I'd like to use Payne's Gray for. Oh yeah, I think that'll be nice. Okay. And using my olive green, just go in and kind of put some greens in there. I did not mean for that to happen. I do not want that. That's a little too loose and too much bleed. Okay, this is gonna be okay. Okay, so my goal here is just getting some of these greens in here. Okay, and then I want to go back and just, I think starting with my shadow here, just really go big with that. And then I'm just kind of wetting everywhere around that. I did leave some room specifically right here beside this part of the jar vase. And I'm just brushing in some water to really loosen this up. And going inside this vase, I think this Okay, and here's where I plan to just keep things nice and wet for a bit. Just kind of blend some of this in. And I want to bring some blue into this. I'm thinking maybe actually my dark green is kind of a blue green. It's a nice blend and compromise between the peacock green and just a traditional green. Okay, and just deciding where to push some of that pigment, how much to just kind of leave. I'd like to loosen up these roses, so I'm adding some more pigment in here, and then I plan to come back and just really loosen them up with some water. I like the idea of this being watery. And I want to switch that size 10 for my size 6. It holds a little less water. And just touching in with some of this water, just brushing in a bit of clean water in this. I love it so far. My goodness. I love the randomness. Super happy with that. And I do think I'd like some just some additional background. Now that started to flow out of that, and so I just pushed it back up near and around the arrangement. And you know, as I'm working, I'm thinking of ways I can ways and places where I can add just some loose details, maybe some green right in here. And that's the olive green. I'm going to go ahead and give this just a bit of softening. Can be just some, you know, some foliage out there. Okay, and what if I take some indigo into this? It's a bit bright, so oh, I like it. Yeah, I love that. In fact, what if we use that for the background and just tie that all in? It looks a mess. We're gonna see. Let's see what happens. Grab some more of that. Okay, let's kind of do some blending here. Okay, let's blend some of this out. Really love that indigo. That is actually dark brown, was supposed to be my Payne's gray. Now, ask me if I'm worried about it, because I'm not. I'm not. It's a mess, isn't it? Let's just see what happens. Maybe some more of these. Okay, get some nice stems and whatnot in there. All right, take some of this up, like just a little bit looser, just trailing off a bit. All right. Let's get some more olive green. I really do like it so far. Let's get some more of this olive. Just putting in some leaves. That was a little too defined, wasn't it? Just making some vegetation back here. Maybe back here. Not necessarily going for everything being the same, but kind of a cohesive look, kind of. Okay, let's see what happens when we touch this with a little bit of water. Not trying to eradicate everything, but just kind of letting it have some place to bleed and soften. And I like that. I think I might like to bring this blue down here and do the same kind of thing. That's that indigo. I love that. maybe start touching those stems with a little bit of the green. This is my olive. Just kind of blending those together here and there a little bit. I don't mind that they're super dark. I actually really like it. And I feel like, you know, a lot of times that's what you would see in an arrangement because it would be so dark. And then I'd like to add a little more detail in those flowers, in the roses. And all I'm doing here really is just going in with those same brush strokes, really. Just some thin ones, some thick ones, and I'm trying not to just go over what I already have. So if I have a thick stroke, I'm trying to make sure I go over that with maybe something thinner. And that way you can kind of see some of it just evokes more detail, I think. And maybe make this another flower right here, just maybe a bud. You know how I like to have a droopy flower in there too. Maybe let's give this one. Some of those droopy qualities. And I will probably come back and touch that with some water just to soften it up a bit. And then how about a little bud out here? Or maybe just like a loose petal. Okay, I love this. I would not call this utter perfection or anything like that. I think, you know, for today and for what I wanted, it was a good practice. And do I think I will try it more? Yes. But I think what I'm really proud of here is that I used a lot of intuition and I didn't really sweat the results, which for me can be kind of a challenge. I tried not to let myself get completely wrapped up in some idea that I had, so much so that, you know, when it was not living up to that, you know, that it's disappointing, because nobody wants to be disappointed in their art. And honestly, if you do it for the experience and just kind of take it as an opportunity to learn, then it's a lot harder to be disappointed. And I like that. So yeah, I mean, it's messy, it's a bit wild, it's definitely out of my comfort zone, but do I feel like it's pretty loose and interesting? Yeah, I do, and I think I'll do it again. I think I will practice it more. I hope that you enjoyed watching this today, or even painting it with me, or that you might try one of your own. And as always, happy painting.